All right, I am back. I had to get some more questions organized and just get some good energy going because we must defeat the darkness of confusion and lies together. And what better way to do that than to have a bunch of people with you on that same mission? So I have at least one person who would like to join me today. Now introducing the one and only Scotty Ellison. Let me hear an applause.
Woo! Hey everybody, my name is Scotty Ellison. I'm the owner of THC Atlanta and valedictorian of Amsterdam University in 2011. Please make sure you like and subscribe to Aviva's channel here, and if you don't mind, donate. Aviva, I did have a couple of questions for you. One in particular from myself. Uh, I was listening earlier, and I actually wanted to know if we ourselves were able to write a bill and then perhaps have a senator or representative take over that bill and then have their colleagues sign on to sponsor that bill. Is that a possibility, or can only legislators write bills?
Absolutely. And honestly, what I think is majority of the bills are written by the corporation lobbyists and lawyers and sold, to the legislators one way or another. I think that lobbyists are the ones writing the bills, or lawyers that work with the lobbyists and the companies, and they say, hey, will you sign on to the bill? And then the legislators have their own legal team. There's a legal team that sits on every committee, I believe. So I could maybe pull up some footage. And in the interim, I did find some footage to pull up as well, um, of them saying, just debating legalese. Like, for example, one senator was like, well, I don't know if it's legal to do this because it's legal federally or whatnot. And then their legal team will check on it in the committee. Or I don't know if this language is legal to say that, people with a misdemeanor can't grow hemp because actually it's not even a misdemeanor, it's a felony. So why even have that in a bill? And there's a lot of language discussion that the legal team checks on. So, if, for example, before Catherine Russell was, I think, helping to write 494 and the other bills last year, she was on the legal team where she was like, oh, okay, well, according to this, it's all about words and how they're used. So
Sure.
we absolutely can, to answer your question, in fact, have a bill written, or perhaps write it ourselves, though we're not lawyers and it's tricky, because in order to write a bill, what you have to do is check with the complete state laws and what's behind it to make sure that the bill is in line with other language and other things.
So a little easier said than done, but it can be done.
Yes, it can definitely be done. That we and in fact, many of the legislators that I contacted this year, I said, would you be open to seeing our legislation about freeing cannabis? And they said, absolutely, bring it to me. Let me look it over.
Okay, cool deal.
And of course, anyone can sponsor something. Anyone can say, I wrote this, when in fact, we might have written it. If they want the credit, that's fine, right? It's
Sure,
kind of
sure.
like, if I write a song, I don't always get the credit for that if I sell it to someone else, for example.
So here's a question for you. I know it's hard to organize, especially for something like the hemp industry, and anybody that has, advocated for hemp knows that it's extremely hard to get organized. And I've watched some people in this industry for the last 20 years, and it's still hard for them to get organized. Let's say we broke it down more to a local level instead of a whole state government level. How many constituents do you think it would take for each representative or senator to change their mind, so to speak, on signing off on legalizing? So if let's say we can't get the 1 million people it takes in all of Georgia, however we go county to county, and we go, okay, senator, okay, representative, these are people in your district, your constituents, that all want you to say yes. How many constituents do you think it would take per representative to get them to change their mind if they are indeed a no?
Well, that's a really good question. And I think it's also good to note that there's counties and districts, like
Okay.
Fulton County, DeKalb County. Um, and I would love to tackle it per county and then figure out all the districts in that county.
Okay.
Very frustrating. I remember when I lived on Ponce, I had to call the cops a couple of times. Like my car got broken into and whatnot. And I was delayed on the phone because they were like, wait, are you DeKalb County or Fulton County? Because it's like I was right on the line and they didn't know who to send. And that was so frustrating to me. I'm like, why does
Yeah.
it even matter? But
Yeah.
it's the same thing with the districts and the counties. Like I was just remapped this year. So I contacted my legislator. I was like, hey, can we have a conversation about this and that? And she was like, just so you know, I'm not your legislator anymore because they remapped it. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I think it'd be interesting to group all of the districts into the counties, which I think some people have done. Like, for example, how many districts are in Fulton counties and how many representatives,
Ah.
therefore, are in Fulton County? So we've got, for example, I did that with Bartow County because my friends are still in jail from Bartow County because I know that's one of the most anti cannabis counties. Well, that's, there's two main districts, and Ed Seltzer is one of the legislators from that district, and Chuck Huffles Terry, I'm not sure how to say it, is one of the legislators. So there's four altogether because there's a rep and a senator for each district. Um, actually, actually, there are less senators than representatives. I haven't figured that one out yet. Okay,
Yeah, that's typically the case. Yeah.
so is it a senator per county and then
I think it's senator.
representative per district?
I think it's. I would assume it'd be a senator per county and then one representative per district because you have several districts in each county, and the senator is like above all the representatives, if you will.
That's interesting. Well, I don't know if they're above, but they
Well, I mean they're higher. They're in a higher chamber.
put it this way, more people have to vote for them, right? Because
Correct.
there's more people in a county than a
Correct.
district.
Correct.
So in that way, we have to like cater your question towards senators and representatives. So if we're talking about a representative, how many people do we need to
In the district.
right, we need to look at how many people are in the district and be like, okay, how many people would really affect whether this person stays in office or not? If it's a senator, we'd have to get, you know,
So
more
guesstimation, how many do you think per? Like we need 100, 200, 300? Certainly not 1,000.
um let's see. Let's see what the population is.
Okay.
So there was a 2020 consensus of population Georgia congressional districts. Um and they're just saying there's 14. See, that's why they say like the senator from the 13th, the senator from the. So do I have it backwards? Is it districts and counties?
Let me do a little AI search.
Are districts bigger than counties? Let's see.
AI is good for something.
Yeah.
Figuring out your government, your history, when you didn't pay attention in high school. And I didn't pay attention in high school because I had ADD.
Okay, but then there's the federal senators and the federal representatives, so it gets even more confusing with that. So I think that's what came up on my. This is like congressional district. So we have 14 federal Senate Congress people.
Let's see.
Let's see. I think there's 159 districts in Georgia. So it's like the gentleman from the 153rd may speak now.
Georgia has 56 state senators. see how many representatives. And Georgia has 180 state representatives.
And how many counties and how many districts? So Bartow County, they say, have about 110,000 people. And not all of them are voters, I would imagine. So
You said Georgia had how many counties?
Bartow County has 110,000 people.
Okay. Georgia has 159 counties altogether. Congressional districts, Georgia has 14. State Senate districts, Georgia has 56. And state House districts, Georgia has 180. So.
Can you say that one more time? I'm going to write it all down.
I can, actually. So, Georgia has 159 counties, in which the state is divided into 14 congressional districts. So there's 14 districts. The state has 56 state senators, or Senate districts, if you will, and it has 180 state House districts. In the U.S., Georgia is divided into 150, the second highest number after Texas. Oh, wow. We have the second highest number of, I guess, counties after Texas, which has 254.
So it sounds like our counties have nothing to do with our legislators, like Fulton County and DeKalb County. It's just like if their district is in that county. It's just completely different. Like they're just separating congressional districts, 14 congressional districts. Well, they're just doing 180 House districts randomly. It doesn't have to do with how many counties there are. And it's obviously there's more counties than senators, so they just like divide up the Senate districts randomly. That's what it sounds like.
Interesting.
That's why they can redraw it whenever.
That's really interesting. So, like, who does the redrawing? This is going to send me down a rabbit hole. Because,
no, this is a serious rabbit hole. You have no idea. So, like, at the very end of the session, I think in 2020, they redrew the districts so that there were more, like, for example, Democrats that would vote for the Democrat in that district.
Right.
Like, they do that every year. They, like, try to kick certain legislators out. And, like, you can even, like, it's a game, right? It's more of this game.
But who determines who authorizes this?
I mean, whoever decides to put the law in, I guess. We have to, I don't know. But like they literally like redrew the map to, because they were targeting this one representative that they didn't want to be a representative anymore. And they knew he'd be voted out if they redrew the lines.
That's very interesting. So I had a friend who was actually a representative in Kennesaw back in the day.
Turn your mic up to there.
Yeah. One moment here.
Thank you so much.
Turned it down so it wasn't blasting or wasn't going over.
Oh, good.
Bam. Let's see. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. So I won't put his name on blast. But I did have a friend who ran as a Republican in Kennesaw. This was back in 2012 when Ron Paul was running for, I guess, a third time, and when he actually had momentum and everything behind him. So when he was running, he actually won that year. And then the following election, he mentioned something about how they were targeting, because he was a big, freedom guy. He was people first, America first, Georgians first, all that good stuff. But the establishment wanted him out. So in order to get him out, they had to redraw his district. And he was talking about how they cheated to get him out of, Congress the following, I guess, year or what, or not the following year, but the next election cycle. So they kind of did him dirty by redrawing. And I was wondering, like, how was that possible? Because he was actually pretty popular with his district.
Yep.
So that's interesting. That's very crazy.
Yeah. It's like, it reminds me of being a kid and just like making up rules of the game as you go along just in order to win.
What was that?
Oh, I'm pulling up the video on the Hemp channel so I can comment as Hemp. I'm trying to see if it's still working.
Oh, got you. Guys, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And if you can, leave a comment. Helps boost the algorithm. This is very important stuff. We do need to get this out to every single Georgian we can. I won't say to the whole United States public, but it is very important to Georgia, especially if you care about hemp or cannabis legalization, and not allowing some big corporation to come in and take complete and utter control over it, completely shunning out the little guy and everybody that's potentially dropped everything they have into their companies. If you want to support local business, small business, and you want to support the industry, make sure you're paying attention to Aviva and her channel, because she's dropping all the knowledge and everything you guys could possibly want to be able to follow this topic. So, for education, follow.
Thank you.
Absolutely. You're doing
Yeah.
a great job. I can't tell you, like, I can't tell you guys how much she's doing for our industry, and she doesn't even partake. So, like, thank you, Aviva. Thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. So I just actually went on to the USA Hemp Revival. I kind of do like the production also. So I was double checking to making sure that I can comment, and I can't because I haven't seen any comments come in, and I'm wondering sometimes it gets disabled. So is anyone out there able to comment to see if it's actually working? I'm going to try to refresh the screen and see if I can comment.
And guys, the amount of legwork this stuff takes is, there's a reason it's not legal in Georgia yet. For every person that's ever come into the shops that I've worked at and said, I don't understand why they don't legalize it yet, it's because you're not down there with us during these discussions, during the time of legislation, getting in these representatives and senators' faces saying, hey, this is something we all want. And because we're not doing that, they can get away with saying, oh, the children, and I don't like it, and my constituents don't like this. They haven't even asked half their constituents. How would they know? So it's very important to do the legwork. If you guys aren't going to get, dressed up and go down there to meet your representatives or whatever, I would at least very bare minimum send them an email. Find out who your representative is. Say, hey, I know you've met with Scotty. I know you've met with Aviva. Please, reconsider your thought process or reconsider your decision on hemp and cannabis products.
Thank you. Yeah.
Because it really does matter. It really does matter.
Are you able to do a comment, Scotty, on your thing?
I would have to log in.
Oh, okay. Lost him for a minute. Oh my gosh. I'm sure he'll come back, but we're trying to figure out all this. There he is. We're trying to figure out all this technical stuff.
I would have to log in real quick. Let me see if I can do it from a new tab.
Bear with us. Don't read his mind. Don't read his password. So basically, I could not comment. So I just want to make sure things are working. I've literally seen like views of these live videos going down. So part of me is like, well, they're using their education fund to take the views off my video in the name of misinformation or something. But
it's telling me that I don't have an account and I would need to create an account or something of the nature.
But you've commented on videos before.
Yeah, it wants me to log in. Okay, hold on 1 second.
That is weird.
It's not letting me log into. Let me see if I do this.
Yeah, it's telling me I have to like join the chat by doing some kind of a special thing, but whatever. We're not.
Yeah, I have a feeling I'm going to end up.
Don't worry about it.
Not again.
Maybe you can ask. Send the
Here,
link.
let me just do it from over here.
Maybe you can send the link to a friend and just be like, "Hey, can you chat? See if you can chat."
I'm just gonna open it in a new browser.
History. It really does feel like it's such a distraction. Like how complicated it is to make laws. It like distracts people from like being able to take action and understand it, because it's not taught in schools, or maybe it is and I just slept through it. I don't think it was, because I don't remember learning this stuff in history. I do remember falling asleep in history class though. Yay, it's working.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so where were we? We were talking about writing a law for these people to check out. And
Yes.
and I do think it's important to see what they've written in the past and what other laws are written that is what we want. So the way like epically California legalized it in what, 96 or 97 or something? Or was it earlier, 94?
California had Proposition, I believe it was 90 or Prop 39, something like that. Let me see.
So they
And it
basically
was
got it on the ballot. Like,
California didn't legalize the first state to actually legalize recreational was Colorado. California was the first to have medicinal on the books.
oh,
Yes, Colorado beat California to the punch. California tried, I think, with Prop 29. Let me see, back in 2000, because I was there in California while this bill was trying to be introduced, and I think it got shot down. Let's see, Cali Prop. I think it was Prop 9 actually. Cali Prop 9.
something with a 9. So
Yeah.
basically what happened is they got signatures. And if you get enough signatures in ballot initiative states, then you can get it on the ballot to vote for it. Now, if you were a Democrat voting in Georgia, you had that option on the ballot to say, is this something you care about in the Democratic Party? Should we focus on this in Georgia? And it won the majority vote to legalize cannabis. So the Democrats should be focusing on it based on their survey that they put out. And it was literally on our ballot. And so I think the way they're going about it is they're trying to turn us into a ballot initiative state so that we can go out there and canvass and get signatures in order to get something on our ballot.
I'd like to correct myself real quick. It was actually Prop 64. My apologies. Proposition, and it was.
I was gonna say 60, yeah, like 60 something, yeah.
Proposition 64, which legalized recreational marijuana in California, was not passed in 2012. It was approved by voters on November 8, 2016. The initiative allowed individuals over the age of 21 to possess and cultivate marijuana for personal use, and it regulates commercial activities related to sales. Prior to 64, possession up to 28.5 grams of marijuana was considered an infraction, but after Prop 64, it became legal. Similarly, possession of up to 8 grams of concentrated cannabis was a misdemeanor before Prop 64. So before Prop 64, before California even legalized, they already had stuff on the books that made 28 grams of, if you, as long as you had under an ounce of weed, practically, you were good to go. And as long as you had under 8 grams of concentrate, you were good to go. You weren't going to be messed with.
Here's the thing about California. There's a lot of corruption there.
Mm-hmm.
In 2020, we were actually in a better place in some ways as far as being able to access CBD. California banned, like, you couldn't go into a Whole Foods like we can now and get CBD. It's still, you can't really in California. You have to, because they have everything regulated under dispensaries and stuff like that. And that's what they're trying to do in Georgia right now. They're trying to go backwards. This is exactly what they're doing. I just realized. They're trying to take everything out of grocery stores, everything out of accessible places, and say you can only get this in dispensaries.
Mm-hmm.
Even CBD, even CBG. And that's stupid.
They're trying to hinder the market, and they're trying to make it so only a handful of companies can manufacture in Georgia. Only a handful of companies are going to be able to sell in Georgia. You have to have a license to buy anything out of these companies. You have to have a license to manufacture. You have to have a license to be able to sell. And if you're not part of this company's, I guess, I want to say profile or portfolio, if you will, then you're not getting a license. It doesn't matter how much it costs. Wait until they come up with like some type of, oh, well, you have to have this type of certification and you have to have this type of qualification and you have to have, like, it's the same thing they did in California that hindered the market and the industry out there. California went legal, but the more legal they went, the more corporations started taking over the industry and pushing out the little people. All your little local farms and stuff, you have to have $1 million license. And I say that one more time, $1 million license just for the license. That's not including the land. That's not including the equipment. That's not including your seed. That's not including your employees. Just the license to say, okay, you can do that was $1 million. There's not a lot of local mom and pop grows out there, even growing cannabis, as lucrative as it is, don't have an extra $1 million to throw into a license. That alone was criminal, and that was done by corporate lobbyists. So,
speaking of which, thank you for saying that. If we look at HB 227, which maybe you can look that up while we have a
sure,
word from our sponsor, because our sponsor is
absolutely.
really itching to get a word in. But HB 227 has $1 million fine. They really like these $1 million, I think, for having a hemp product somewhere or something. Okay, speaking of little guys, it is my turn to
Hi,
talk to
Scribbles.
the sponsor of this video. Excuse me, can I get a full screen? Sure, hold on.
Bye, Scribbles.
I just want to say I am so excited to sponsor this video, but instead of promoting my Scribble Soup CD, which I normally do, I'm going to sponsor the fact that my mom makes these amazing remedies out of flowers, and you can go and purchase them today for stress relief. And they're all natural, and they have the vibrations of like birds chirping, chirp, 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 and trees and the sun, and they're so beautiful. So go and get it today. Bye. Thanks, Scribbles. I guess I need to put that link. Or you all can just email me if you're interested in doing a Bach flower consultation. They really are amazing as far as staying on track with your life's work, staying on track with stress relief, even depression, even confidence. I'm not saying it's a cure, but I am saying that if you have the vibrations of these flowers that are the opposite vibrations of, the terror and the panic and the depression, sometimes you just need to feel like it's like someone holding your hand. Like you just need to feel that love so that you can get out of that funk. And that's what these essences have done for me for years. I mean, in some of the most stressful situations, like going down to the Capitol, all I have to do is spray myself with these essences, and I just feel so much more light and love. It's kind of like, they've even been saying that certain vibrations kill parasites. So you never know. It could be what you need. So hit me up. I'll put my email in the comments, and I'm going to bring Scotty back.
Hey, everybody. We may have messed up there. They told us they were not. See, this is how sneaky these people are. Me and a friend of mine were at the Capitol on the 6th, and they told us that, they said SB 33 wasn't going to be heard, but it was heard? HB 227
It was?
it was House second readers. So I guess it was read by the House a
Oh,
second
but
time.
that doesn't count as like a committee hearing.
Okay.
You can't speak on that.
Okay. Cool deal. All right. As long as I didn't have an opportunity to get in there and I missed it, that's one thing. Okay, that's fine. If I couldn't have spoken, then it doesn't matter anyway, because they're not going to hear me. Anyway, let me read the current version for you real quick, and let me open in PDF form so I can do a quick search on the $1 million fine and read that out specifically.
Okay, so HB 227 is assigned to the health committee. So what you all can do is write to the health chair to get on the list. When you're on the email list, they will notify you at least 24 hours before all of their committee meetings, and they will let you know what bills they are reading in the meeting. And if you missed the first video of today, I talk about what happens in the committee meetings. I'm going to go ahead and get that email for you while he is looking that up. I'm going to just share the screen, actually, so you can see the process of how I find out who to write to. And again, if you're interested in donating, I need to put the link there. I am merely trying to have time to do this. So I really do appreciate your donations because I love doing this work. And I also am accepting sponsors on my videos, and that's a great way to support me and also get the word out about your business. So you can email me about that as well.
Okay, so they're talking about just possessing. Dude, that's really messed up. This thing needs to be shot down fast.
Yeah, it does. It's scary.
Yeah, it's very scary. They're not even talking about processing right here. They're just talking about possession. Notwithstanding any provision of Chapter 13 of this title, any provision having possession of purchasing or having under his or her control more than 20 fluid ounces, and then it has of low THC oil crossed out, but less than 160 fluid ounces of, and then it has low THC oil crossed out. So I wonder what they're going to put in this little I wonder what they're going to revise there. But medical cannabis or a product or purchase or products containing an equivalent amount of medical cannabis, or who manufactures, distributes, dispenses, sells, purchases, or possesses with the intent to distribute medical cannabis. Okay, so they crossed out all of low THC and just put in medical cannabis. So if you're possessing medical cannabis, 20 fluid ounces or 160 fluid ounces, and I guess that's talking about in like um, concentrate form, like tinctures and stuff, or if you have concentrates. Um, but if you're in possession of that, if you have control of that or whatever, uh, it is a or will be a felony, and if convicted, shall be punished by imprisonment for not less than 1 year, uh, or up to 10 years, and a fine not to exceed $50,000 or both. So you'll probably end up legitimately with like a 10,000 first offense. If I the way I know how the law works, first offense for this will probably be like a year in jail or slap on the wrist, depending on if you're a first offender, and then like a $10,000 fine. The second time you do it will probably be about $25,000, and then probably 2 or 3 years in jail or something of that nature, or probation, heavy amount of probation. And the third time you do it, because Georgia's a three-strike system, that's where you'll get your 10 years and your $50,000 fine. So, yeah, you don't want to.
What line is that?
That's going to be on 148 down to 155.
Okay.
And you can find all the fines much easier if you hit Control F. Are you on a Mac?
No, I'm just looking on the website.
But are you on a regular computer or a desktop Windows?
Hold on. I just need the line. I don't need anything else. I'm looking at this cancer stuff that it's talking about.
Which one? Which line?
Okay, they're now saying that, and I just told them about this. Okay, so this is annoying. This is annoying because they're doing good things in this bad bill.
Mm-hmm.
See, what they're doing is, it used to be that you can only get a medical cannabis card for end stage cancer. Now they're saying any cancer. That's why they crossed out end stage there.
And they're definitely trying to take over the medical game. They're crossing out anything that says low THC oil, so they're not even worried about that anymore. And now they're just putting in medical cannabis. So I'm
Woo!
not sure if
You were so on it. Oh,
yeah,
see, but they're crossing out severe. They're like Tourette's syndrome when it's severe. It's like, no, and so it's like, it's just such BS. It's like, who cares at this point? We don't want our medical cannabis card. We just want it to be free.
yeah.
But at
I don't
least,
have a medical alcohol card. I don't
but
need a license to go and buy Everclear.
or Jägermeister.
Anything that's hard, like I don't need a license to go
Oh
buy it.
my
I
god,
need a
you
certificate
guys,
to
they're
enroll
trying
in.
to pretend they're being nice because of breadcrumbs. We are Hansel and Gretel leading to the witch's house. We don't need your breadcrumbs. We don't need you to say when it's not severe. You shouldn't have said it was severe in the first place. You gave us the sickness. We don't need your remedy. It's like you're the one that told us it was severe. Forget
This
it.
is
We
very
don't.
much a control thing, and with Georgia being so draconian on its cannabis laws and being so behind the times, and our representatives, even the ones that don't like it and sat there and said that they won't legalize it, the one that I specifically had a meeting with last Thursday, as she continued to ream us out, did in fact, while she was tearing my head off, tell us that Georgia was indeed behind on the times and behind everybody else, blah, blah, blah. But she didn't care. And then she had her excuses or whatever. It's like you just admitted yourself that we're behind. Like everybody. Georgia has the largest agricultural program in the United States, if not the rural. Like I know if I'm not mistaken, Georgia has branches in other parts of the world. The Georgia Department of Agriculture, is that correct?
Other parts of the world? Well,
Yeah,
I mean, we have the biggest cotton industry. We're probably growing
we
ethanol.
are international, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm pretty sure a quick little search will verify that for me. From what I believe,
But yeah, I mean,
I don't want to name drop, but a certain somebody told me that was the case.
okay.
So
But I mean,
with
look
that,
how ridiculous this is. It's like, why would they even say multiple sclerosis when it's diagnosed as severe or end stage? Like, that's the only choice for cannabis. Like, it's morphine. And thank God it's not morphine. Like,
it's like you can't have cannabis
even
until you're almost
Alzheimer's,
dead.
like, only when it's. But, like, see, this proves the fact that it's crossed out here proves. And let's look at the sponsors also after we look at line
Oh
148.
yeah, yeah.
You know, but like literally that proves that they already know that it can help with cancer if it's not end stage. Look, all this stuff is now like, let's see if um any other ooh, I lost that. Why is my thing not working?
What do
Oh,
you?
are you there? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
here.
It's hard to do everything. All right, here we go. So um what are we seeing here? Now we're just seeing the bill. Oh, I took it off the screen. Here we go. Okay, here we go. So we're looking at HB227. We just want to see the sponsors. So here we go. Robert Dickey. He's in ag. He's the ag committee chairman, and yet in health is where it sits. So let me just do this for you right now so you guys know. You have to email this person very soon, Dendrick. You have to email him to get on the email list so you know when this bill is being heard, okay? Dendrick Atkins, we can find his email. Honestly, it's probably just dendrick.atkins. I can find it for you. Hold on. I'm sure I've written to him, so it'll just pop up on my email.
You know, it
I've
would be
written
nice
to, like,
if
literally
we
everyone.
actually had like some way. We actually do, and you know what? I might put this on. Guys, I'm gonna start going live on X on THC Atlanta, and we're gonna do like this. This is where you can get all your breakdown, your information, and whatnot. But I think we're gonna start doing a little bit of a podcast just so we can like open up a little bit more, and talk a little bit more. But I think we're going to allow or we're gonna be broadcasting on X. That way we can not only tag some of these senators and whatnot, but I would also like to be able to post some links for everybody so you can find your senator. And then once you do, I want to create a little list that allows you guys to tell me who your senator is or who your representative is. That way I can represent you and go talk to them and be like, look, these are your constituents who want you to vote yes or want you to vote no on a particular bill. And if you don't, I'm going to go back to all your constituents and let them know that you didn't want to and that you felt a particular way. So I think having that type of power or having those type of having that type of data and having that type of an asset would actually give me a little bit more leg power, and a little bit more muscle behind when I'm talking to these people. Because I'll tell you what, man, that one lady that we talked to, the first lady that we talked to, she tore my head off. She did not care what I had to say about hemp or cannabis whatsoever. And it wasn't until the person I was with told her that he was a constituent, it was when she finally calmed herself down. So legitimately, these people will go at you like rabid dogs until they know that you hold the power over them. If me not being her constituent, she didn't care what I had to say.
Okay. Did you write to Dedrick yet? I just gave you the email and the example to say, please let me know when the health committee. It's annoying to get all the emails about all the things, but if you want to play the game, you got to get the emails, you got to get the notifications.
I will sign up right now.
And so, of course, we can do a phone campaign. We could call them. We can occupy their phones. We can ask them to just take it out of the bill because there are some good things in it, like changing the
Give me
condition.
just one moment. I'll be right back.
Yeah. So yeah. So that is the email. I just put it right there, and I'm gonna pull up the committee members again. Now, if any of these committee members are your people, you know. So now Sharon Cooper is very anti-cannabis, very vocal about it. Otherwise, she's a pretty sweet woman. She's got a fun office with lots of tchotchkes. She's in the 45th district. She's Republican, which is interesting. So there's a committee which is public and community health. Okay, so she is the chairman of that, and though she's not the chairman of the health committee, she is the chairman of the public and community health committee, but not the chairwoman of the bill that 227 of the health committee. The chairman of that is Lee Hawkins. So we can email him. You know, this is his email. I'll put it in the chat so you can.
Sorry,
Email. I dare someone to do this right now. Email chairman to express your grievances about HB 227, and you all should know how to do that. And this is his email. Okay, so he's the chairman. He decides if it's going to be read, if it's going to be deliberated over, if it's going to be voted on. You know, that's your guy, Lee Hawkins. I've never met with him. I don't know what he's like. We should try to get a meeting with him. You can write to his staff to do that. You can call him here to do that. You can program that in your. You can go to Gainesville, Georgia, and try to go to his district office, talk to him there. Me and him have a very similar birthday, day before. And his spouse's name is Sharon. Not Sharon Cooper, I don't think. All right. Where else are we? Zooming over here. By the way, I really do appreciate you being here with me, Scotty. It is really like hard to have the bandwidth to do this on my own. And honestly, I think it's because it's so evil. It's like I need some spiritual protection when I do this stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah, no worries. More than happy to help. I am actually emailing for the email list to Dendrick Atkins right now.
Nice.
Let's see.
So Viola Davis is in the committee as well. I think she would be on our side. She's got a good bill in the docket. We should talk about the good ones. Billy Mitchell's pretty pro-cannabis. I mean, generally Democrats are pro-cannabis, and Republicans are pro-controlling cannabis.
Dude, I'll tell you what, unless they can take the credit for it, in which they're never going to do.
But you cannot generalize, because David Clark and my wonderful friend Latricia Howard, his legislative assistant, he is very pro-cannabis and he's a Republican. So he's already had legislation. You could look at his sponsored legislation over here and look at, I think it was 2021, he had a cannabis bill. Actually, I think it was 2020. Oh, he was also wanting the Speaker of the House to resign. There was a big thing about Ralston in 2020, rest his soul. Maybe it was even earlier that he had a legalized cannabis thing. Maybe it was 2018. Ooh, we gotta like document these because it looks like they only go back a certain number of years, and if we want to like save this for the history of hemp, teaching it in colleges and whatnot. Crimes. Okay, this is interesting here. I do want to read that, but I want to find the legalized cat. I do have the number like in a newsletter. I could find it. What is this? To amend. Let's see. Do I have this pulled up? Yeah. Are you reading this?
I am not. I was sending that email to get on the email health list, and then
So this
whatever else you had.
to amend the low T. Oh, I think he just wanted to add things to the low THC oil, like pain and PTSD. All right. Well, he had a cannabis bill. We don't need to look at it right now. But I want to go back to 227. All right. We want to look at line 174, you said? 147?
From earlier, I was on.
Any person who possesses, purchases, or has under his or her control 20 fluid ounces or less of medical cannabis or a product containing an equivalent amount of medical cannabis without complying with shall be punished for a misdemeanor. So they're like saying, if you don't have a medical cannabis card and you have cannabis, we're coming after you.
But then keep reading if you don't have one.
Okay. More than 24 ounces unless a product who manufactures, distributes, possesses the intent to distribute medical cannabis shall be guilty of a felony. Okay, that's. Oh my. Well, it possesses with the intent to distribute. So it's not just but purchases or purchases with the intent to distribute. It's still crazy.
I mean, but like honestly,
Felony.
for them to be like, oh, you were distributing, all it takes is either your medicine broken up into two separate baggies or a scale or something that like that being around you. Doesn't even have to have residue on it, just for being around you or broken up into different amounts automatically constitutes it and justifies it for them as a sale or packaged for sale. So that's kind of stupid because people will take their vitamins and have their vitamins separated in their little pill jars Monday through, or Sunday through Saturday. It's no different with strains and different stuff, people separating their different strains and whatnot. If you're caught with two different strains and they're in two different bags, you're automatically assume that you're selling.
Right. And then it says something about work. Like, employers are not required to permit you to use medical cannabis even though you have a even though you have a card. It's just all such a racket. It's like,
it is.
What is the point of having medical cannabis if, first of all, insurance doesn't pay for it? Second of all, you can't keep your job if you're on it. Like, what if I was taking bipolar medication? Could I be fired for that?
Serious? Yeah.
Or can they test me for that?
No.
Can we add that to the bill? Like, what if I was taking an SSRI and you just are an employer that don't want to deal with people on SSRIs? Can you write a bill saying I could test you for it?
No, in fact, you could sue me if I decided I wanted to test you for it.
Woo! We need sound effects. Boing.
I mean, if I had OBS.
Right. And yeah, we got to get on OBS when we go live on X.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun stuff.
This is a great discussion. Like, this is such important stuff. Don't you all think? I know there's more of you watching right now. Okay, so what was I going to do after this? Okay, so that's 227. So hopefully, they're going to try to pass it like crazy. Robert Dickey is the main sponsor. Matt Reeves, who's that?
This is 227.
Yeah, he's in cover now.
Be on top of that one. So hard.
Yeah, he's the 99th. See, all these like double digits, I'm telling you. Brian Prince, Democrat, he needs to know what's going on. See, they're very confused, honestly, because they're acting like it's pro-cannabis to the Democrats when they ask them to sign on, because they're like, oh, look at this. We're adding all these conditions. Now people with cancer can get cannabis. It's not just end-stage cancer. Now people with, Parkinson's can get it. It's not just severe Parkinson's. So look, we're making it better. Ha ha ha. We're also criminalizing it in the background. It's like, no, we're done.
So do these legislators, like, I know they're busy people because they've got a billion bills, like, literally coming down the pipeline at them at all given times and all given, hours of the day. But how many of these bills do you think these guys actually read before signing on to something?
I'm gonna bring up these pictures. I didn't realize I was doing it. So I mean, literally, I don't think there's a way to scientifically figure out that number, but you were there when we asked that one legislator,
He had no clue.
do you know SB 33 is bad? And he was like, yo, make up your mind. Do you want cannabis or not? And we're just like,
We're like, yeah.
the reason why they don't know is because the veil has been put over our heads as far as, do we want it even do they even have a right to control us? No. What gives them the authority? What gives them the authority to
That, and then you have like
sacred plant?
companies like Trulieve sending in their freaking little, like, I guess they're addicts, if you will,
Look at this.
covering addicts to lie.
Look at this. He
Customers.
told David, right, exactly, that he supports legalizing cannabis. He signed on to this 227. He needs to get his name off of that. He needs to know. I'm gonna anyway.
I guess that's a better reason for me to go down there and start making more meetings. I'm not opposed to making more than one meeting with somebody. After meeting with them, going down there and meeting with them again, be like, hey, do you understand? Well, I'm not opposed to meeting with them every single week.
Take it away. I'll be.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, she left me all by myself. Unfortunately, I can't control the screen, so we're just gonna look at these senators and representatives while she gives me the screen to take away. All right. I guess while we're doing that, I have my own screen. I know you guys can't see. Actually, maybe I can. Can I present? I think I can present my screen. Let me just make a few things go away real quick. Show that and show that. Well, I didn't really want these being seen. So, sorry, I've got some bookmarks that are business bookmarks that I don't really want to be visible. Anyway, we'll just go down the list, I guess, while I am rocking it solo here. We have Representative Robert Dickey. Let's see what this guy's about real quick. Committees he's on. He's on the Agriculture and Consumer Affairs chair. He's the chairman of Agriculture and Consumer Affairs. Okay.
Now you know how it feels being all alone, right?
I mean, I just wasn't prepared. And I don't have the screen. I can't mess with the screen without showing mine. And like, there's certain things on mine that I need to be able to cut.
Yeah, he's the chairman of Ag, so he is also responsible for calling a meeting, a hearing for 265, because he, right here, the Ag chairman, and he has been for years. Yeah.
So, what is this guy pro, or is he? What do you know about this guy?
What do I know is that he is impressionable.
Now, you might have the answer to this, and I think I already know the answer to this. It's probably yes. In fact, I'm almost positive it is yes. But I'll ask you anyway because I'm still a little uncertain. If I wanted to go live, say I have my meeting set up or whatever, and I wanted to go live on X during my meeting and set up the camera to record and go live, am I allowed to set my camera up and go live in the office? I mean, they're a public representative. There's nothing saying I can't record them or my meeting. There's nothing private about the meeting if I don't want it to be.
Yeah, I mean, they might not talk if you do that. They don't have to like agree to it. You know how people like attack people with cameras sometimes?
Yeah.
I mean,
well, I would go in and say, hey, I prefer to record to go live. That way, your constituents.
Yeah, we are allowed to to have phone calls and record the other end. I think that is legal in this state, the one-sided recordings of phone calls and stuff like that. And you can also just say, hey, do you mind if I, but that would be really interesting to go live. I mean, I don't think it's illegal, but I just think they might not be happy with you,
I don't care if they're happy with me or not. What if? Okay, so here's their option: either I go
I mean,
live,
there.
or I bring 100 of their constituents into the meeting with me. Do you have room to house 100 constituents? Because 100 of your constituents are watching right now. That's what I would tell them.
That's cool. I bet you could probably get 1,000.
I
But
just don't
basically,
care how many. I just want to record.
just so you know, all of the meetings are live streamed. That's how I get a lot of my footage for my videos. Is like all the committee hearings are live streamed on the
Yeah,
site. So do you know how to see that? So like if I go to the House of Representatives and I go to the schedule, which is different than calendars. So I go to the House schedule and it's loading. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Okay, any day now.
hit refresh.
Gasoline, pretty and cosmic and nice. Gasoline, you shouldn't have to think twice. Gasoline, it cleans the air as it's made. Gasoline, maybe it'll stop all the greed too.
Grassoline?
There we go.
You
He
say
said,
grassoline?
so look, here you've got a video. So let's go to, well, that's in the future. Let's go, can we see the past?
We can watch videos in the future.
Date range. We want to see the 4th.
Some serious AI stuff right there, man.
Huh?
I said we can watch videos in the future. That's some serious AI stuff right there.
Well, they're ready for you. The link is ready for you.
In the future.
Yeah, it's set up. Well, hey, I did that with this live stream. I set up a link and all they had to do is press it. But we probably should wrap it up soon, so y'all need to get your questions in. I don't know if I answered all of your questions, Scotty.
I did just have those two, which I do believe you answered. The other one was more of a hypothetical, so don't really know how many. But the second question, which I guess we can kind of circle back to, is how many signatures do you think a representative or senator of their own constituents would they need to see, and for them to be able to change their mind, or to potentially change their mind for a way they think? If, let's say, my senator, for example, is a no, or he made that statement, I will never legalize marijuana. How many of constituents do you think? How many of my friends do you think I'd have to go around in my area and get their signatures to be like?
Well, I have a better
Don't
question for you as a mover and shaker. How many have you gotten so far?
I've gotten like 0, but that's not to say I can't call
Well,
a few people
that's
right
the
now.
problem. Like, I don't think you need to think about how many. I think you just need to start doing it because you know that like a meeting is
True.
coming up. I'm such a mama penguin. Like literally, like
You
just
fly?
I think you should, yeah.
Okay. Okay. I can get these
I think
signatures.
the goal, I think it should all be about your motivation. Like if you know that this is coming up and you put a goal that's too high, you're not going to feel motivated. You're going to feel like a failure. I want you to know, even if you get 2 signatures, that's meaningful. Even if you get 3, even if you get 6, let's go up. Like I'm a math geek. I love the Fibonacci spiral. So I think it's good to have goals exponentially. Start with 1, then
Just
go to
gonna
2,
do it old school style and
then
go
go to
door to
4,
door.
then go to 8, then go to 12, like I think I need to do the odd numbers to get a right spiral, but eventually exponentially you'll get there. But don't start with a high goal because you'll get discouraged. Like start with like within.
I'm just
Start
gonna
with
go door to door
yourself.
tomorrow,
Be the
knocking
number
on
one.
doors.
Be the one that makes the change, and then you'll bring in the people with you, and be that beautiful snail, and it'd be great. I think 5 people make a difference. I think it would be really impressive to have a list of 500 signatures. I think that's would be very influential. Think about it. Just think about if you were a legislator and you weren't a jerk. Think,
That's
what,
the problem. Most of
what
these
would
guys
you
are.
what would you want? What would convince you? Unfortunately, what Yolanda always says, and unfortunately she's right, what convinces you is when you need it.
Yeah.
When you realize, oh my God, this is something that I need in my life, and it's personal, or someone you love is dying and they're able to use it, and you had so much trouble accessing it, that's what will convince you. She's like, you guys, you don't want to have to need this. No medication is working for me. This is the only thing that's working for me. And now you've taken away my flower. Like, what the heck? Now you're going to criminalize me for having it even? You're going to send me to prison for getting the only medication that works for my body? Talk about bad karma. They are going to end up needing it probably because they're restricting it. That's the law of like spirituality, isn't it? Okay, back to here. We're going to see one of their meetings. They meet Wednesdays. Let's see what it's like. We're going to go to their meeting. We're going to watch. So it's in 506 Club. Now you did go to Coverdell, right? You went for your first.
We did. Yes, I've
so that was like, it's a little more homey than the Capitol.
Yeah, it's very much more organized than the Capitol. Capitol's like when you're walking into high school for the first time, and then the Club building's more like an elementary school. It's just more hallway, like doors. And then the Capitol's more like, okay, you got to know where you're going and which way you're going to get to your class type deal.
That was interesting. It didn't it didn't pick up right away, but here it is. You see it?
Yep.
Are we on?
I see it.
Okay. So, so this shows you the meetings.
Critical, and I think that's the key point here is because of the efforts that we've put in place with our EOC and other things, we were able to act fast. At times, there were over 150 people working on this particular case and this situation, but it is ongoing. We have cleaned and disinfected one location. We're in the process of working on the other, and hopefully by the end of this week, first part of next week, we'll have most of that wrapped up. But we're in a really good place.
I'm glad we forwarded to this because that brings me to the other industry that is huge in Georgia, which is the chicken farmers. Unfortunately, we feed like fast foods all around the country, along with the cotton industry. So that's like a huge, as ag commissioner, he's kind of responsible for really making sure those chickens don't give us the flu.
And things are moving in the right direction. It's no... and on AI really quick, we are asking for some additional resources that we didn't know we needed until we had the AI event. And that request is in the budget, or we're asking for that in the budget. We'll be diving off into that with our appropriate.
Okay, now if you really want to go down a rabbit hole, you want to see who got that hurricane relief money, because there are rumors that some of the medical cannabis farmers are getting some of that money so that they can afford to keep growing hemp. I mean, I'm sure a lot of their stuff was destroyed during the hurricane, but are they giving them more than,
Wait, the medical citizens? Farmers?
Huh?
The medical farmers or just the regular hemp farmers?
Do we even have regular hemp farmers here? I don't even know. Like, I think it's, all medical at this point, or all CBD.
Friends in the Appropriations Committee, and want to ask for your support on that as well. It's no secret Hurricane Helene was devastating to our state.
So there we go, the 79 applications. Let's see who are those applications. I would like to know. Please do that research, someone.
Over $5.5 billion worth of damage. At the department, we had about 50 employees of our agency that were committed to this effort over 3 weeks of deployment.
My district, but now is your district chairman, Dickey, who actually is in veterinarian school in Grenada right now, had a challenging time trying to get into any veterinary school because all the slots were filled. So thank you so much for bringing this bill.
Okay, Chairman Meeks, is that you?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Madam Chair, thank you for bringing this today. Does the American Veterinary Medical Association maintain a list of those, I'll say, accredited schools from other foreign schools so that we know as they're applying which ones, I'll say, are?
Okay, so basically, Chairman Cooper is bringing up a bill having to do with veterinarian something that, I think it's always good to learn what they're doing and comment on it and, understand that, we're not just about cannabis. We're normal people too. We care about all these other bills you're doing, and thank you for this and thank you for that. Maybe it's a good one. And if it is a good one, we want them to know we recognize the good that you're doing. I mean, they're human, right?
Accredited in whatever country they're located in?
They do. They have a list. I can't name what the list is. It's just like if you apply to get a license here in medicine,
Yes, ma'am.
the each state has a copy of the list of the schools that are approved.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Representative Steen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Camp and Chairman Meeks have addressed two of the things that I was going to ask, but I think this is a great thing to do to solve the short-term problem of getting us an immediate need. I'm just curious, what are we doing to expound the education system? And you might not know the answer.
So, we don't have to watch this whole thing, but I just want you to get an idea of how these meetings go. All the ag committee folks sit up here and listen first. Oh, I didn't even say this in my last video. What happens? You first listen to the sponsor of the bill basically completely explain the bill. So when we go and testify against SB 33 and HB 227 and HB 265, we're going to listen to the sponsor say the whole.
The person that initially took the bill, or
yeah,
you say the sponsor because there's multiple people that sign on.
Or someone can speak for them if the sponsor is busy at another hearing or something. He'll be like, okay, I'm speaking for this person. But usually it's the sponsor of the bill. They'll explain the bill for however long. I mean, it can be 5 minutes or 20 minutes, and we're all sitting there listening to it. Then they listen to questions from the committee about the bill, like you were just seeing. Oh, I have this question. I have that question. Then they might want to, then the chairman gets kind of like a feeling for how everyone's feeling about it. Now, in the meanwhile, there are sheets to sign up to speak. If you know that a bill is being heard, then you can sign up to speak, whether or not it's being voted on or not. And the chairman can decide if he wants to hear public comment then. It doesn't always. If it's not going to be brought up for a vote, they might say, oh, well, we're going to hear it again on Thursday, or we're going to hear it again next week. And at that point, we'll take public comment and we'll take a vote. So you might go down there for nothing, I mean, hopefully you'll have other meetings, but it's all an experience, right? So basically that's what happens is they hear it first, and then is the public comment. I just wanted to say that, but I wanted to just play this a little bit more so you can get a feeling for it.
And it's the main sponsor of the bill that speaks first, correct?
Answer to this so that we can get more of our students that want to be veterinarians.
Took a couple of years to get him a specialized license. So there's a need for these. There's a need for more vets. And if they're from a qualified veterinary school, we need them just to be able to practice veterinary medicine regular, which this bill does not touch. But we also need these specialists.
Okay, thank you. We've got you've got several questions if you're willing to answer those.
Okay, well.
Okay.
That's
So, what?
That's the lady. She took my head off.
Imported. This stuff's made here in the United States, but it's made in a lab where they're cloning cells. We just want transparency when people are eating that or consuming it, that they know what they're getting. It's already required to be labeled in grocery stores, much like seafood.
Yeah, this is a big deal. I think they're talking about like the fake meat.
Lab grown meat.
Like
Yeah.
that is so messed up. Like sometimes
Yeah.
I'll feed my kitty cat meat and she won't eat it. I think they're talking about this, like it's not labeled appropriately.
We're just asking for restaurants to label it as well. So again, one paragraph, simple and to the point, and we'll.
So yeah, Jason Ridley, thank you for that. Good job. Well, and so what you could do is you can go back to the meeting, right? This is, okay, so do you see the meeting list now? So this was February 4th. This is what they were meeting at. We can just look at the agenda right here. And so we don't have to like play too much hide and seek or where is Waldo? And we can see, okay, what are these bills they're talking about so that we can thank them for it. HB 91 is probably the Cooper bill. You can even see her name right there, Cooper from the 45th. We've got HB 117. Can you see it bigger if I do this? Yeah. Okay. And look, there's 35 representatives in the committee. 117, origin of seafood. Okay, so they were talking about seafood. Oh, no, okay.
No, he's talking about meat.
Yeah, Ridley was talking about the plant-based meat alternatives. Like, I think what's happening with that is people think they're eating meat and they're not.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you for HB 163.
From restaurants specifically is what it sounded like. Like they're saying grocery stores already label their stuff, plant-based meat. They're wanting restaurants to do it because you'll walk into a restaurant and they're using plant-based meat and the consumer doesn't know that they're eating a plant-based meat. So he wants restaurants to tell the consumer, or at least label it on the menu, it's a plant-based meat if that's what the restaurant has.
But I think what's going on is like, I think maybe meat eaters are going into vegan places, so it's like obvious, but maybe it's not obvious because it's not on the menu. It just seems hard to believe that people are trying to trick people, but maybe they are. Oh, maybe like fast food places are using plant-based meat or plastic-based meat.
I recently saw what they were using for like chicken nuggets and whatnot, medically separated chicken. And I was like, I will never eat fast food as long as
Oh
I
my
live. That's
gosh,
a great
that
way
does
to
not
lose weight
support
real quick.
that doesn't support the chicken industry in Georgia. I mean, there's a reason why Purdue is Georgian. He's got the chicken farms. Okay, so let's try to wrap it up because I know the Super Bowl is starting in a minute. I am going to speak with you backstage while I play a song so we can figure out how to focus in the last 5 minutes. So I'll see you in a minute, Scotty. I am going to play. What am I going to play for these people? I'm going to play a snippet of last year's last minute vote. Well, the vote on 196 when we thought they won because they had more votes, but they didn't because they didn't get the majority. And I think I explained it well there. And I kind of like talked about that in my other live a moment ago when I was like not grounded enough to go live. I was rushing and trying to do some other things. So let me share that real quick. Nobody's voting. They're all like, we don't want to do anything. That's so weird. It's taking so long. Yes, Father Chronic. It is our human right. This is all smoke and mirrors.
Recognize the senator from 46.
Isn't it true that a red vote here gives these children a chance to get the medicine by June?
Senator's passing by what he speaks.
See, I knew it would pass.
The motion to only agree to the House amendment to the Senate substitute, the yeas are 28 and the nays are 26, and this motion has failed.
Wait, the motion has passed. It was 28.
Senator from the 13th, for what purpose do you rise?
Mr. President, I ask for recount, please.
Reconsideration.
Motion recount. Motion reconsider, recount.
All right. The senator has moved for reconsideration. Senator for the second, what purpose do you rise?
Parliamentary agreement, Mr. President.
State your inquiry.
Mr. President, do we not have to vote on the underlying motion before a motion to reconsider? Since there's another motion, a subsequent motion on the table?
We just did, Senator.
I meant on the disagree.
No, sir. He's reconsidering his vote on that. So those are who are the motion is for reconsideration. Those who are in favor of reconsideration will vote yay, opposed nay. Secretary, unlock the machine.
I thought it was 28 to 26, yes to no. I'm so confused.
Senator from the 20th, what purpose do you rise?
Isn't it true, Mr. President, that we're killing a lot of potential other bills with this long drug out thing on the
If the idea was to kill time, we're doing a good job of it, Senator.
I'm going to put some good energy out there for education. What was passed? I'm so confused. Oh, it was a vote to table it? No.
On the motion to reconsideration, the yeas are 27, the nays are 28, and the motion has failed. Now it goes to the senator from the 46. His motion. His motion is to disagree to the House position, but he is given time to speak in the well on this issue.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll be quick since we've debated this pretty thoroughly. I think most people have been heard. Please vote with me to disagree to the House position, and let's send it back to them and see if they will either recede and accept this bill so we can make progress on medical marijuana, or if they will disagree so that we can try to have a quick conference committee, see if there's any common ground, and waive the rule if need be so that we can get something done this time. I think this is the way to go. That's a totally new bill that we weren't familiar with at all. It has a lot of new concepts, a lot of things we don't understand. Perhaps they can explain them in a conference. So please join with me to disagree to the House amendment to our bill, House Bill 196. I yield the well. Let's try to work on some other bills.
Senators yield the well. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the measure? Chair hears none. Question on the House Bill 196. The senator from the 46 has disagreed to the House amendment to the Senate substitute. All those in favor of his motion will vote yay. All those opposed, nay. Secretary will lock the machine.
Hello.
Hey, I think we can talk, I guess, but they can't hear us.
Yeah.
I'm not sure though.
Are we signing up?
We're watching the vote from last year so they understand, and then we're going to jump back on.
Okay.
Because this was a weird vote. It's history, man.
Got voted on twice. It's 2 years ago.
I'll add the link in the thing. So.
On the passage of the motion, the yeas are 53 and the nays are 2, and the motion to disagree has prevailed.
All right.
Recognize the senator from the 56.
I don't.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate adhere to the Senate amendment to the House substitute to Senate Bill 13 and a conference committee be appointed.
All right. All right, we're back.
We're back.
So that was, we hope you didn't miss us too much. That was basically the vote on 196, that even though the majority won, it wasn't enough. And I think it explained it in there enough. Like there had to be a certain amount of votes altogether, and there weren't because some people didn't vote or some people weren't there. And that's what you'll find in committee hearings also, is like the people aren't always there, so that they can't always vote yes or no. And I don't know if they can send that in. So, you know, some people are in several committees, so they might have one committee go over time and then they can't make the other minute, blah, 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 session, blah, blah, blah. So that's the other thing that needs to happen. Like I was frustrated with how David Clark's bill didn't go anywhere. Like it didn't get assigned to a committee. It didn't get assigned. It, you know, it wasn't heard. And whenever I would, you know, call like around, like for example, maybe it was assigned to a committee, but it wasn't being heard. I'd be like, what's going on? And they're like, oh, well, the legislator didn't ask me for a hearing. So they sometimes say that and it's not true because the legislator's like, well, yes, I did. I just didn't hear back. And it's a lot of communication, lost communication. Do we want to just pull up one more time HB 265 and 227 before we say goodbye?
Yeah, sure, go for it.
Okay. So let's just do that real quick. Let's start with 265. And people, I just want you to know the reason why we're super just against all of these cannabis legislations. The reason why we're against all of these cannabis legislations is because it does not support full plant, whole plant legislation. It's just all in pieces. The plant being torn apart.
It's
And
the Trojan horse for sure.
yes,
Each one of these.
it's all about control.
Yeah, if they're not going to just allow us to farm the whole plant, extract the whole plant, and use the whole plant, the full plant, however we see fit, cool deal. And I'm actually not just fighting for the medicinal side. Yeah, obviously that's a big part of it. But I'm also fighting for the industrial side of it. Hemp is responsible for so many textiles and products that we had during World War II. In fact, if it wasn't for hemp, we probably wouldn't have succeeded in World War I, to be honest. Hemp was a underlying factor in the reason we won World War I, just for the fact that we could make cheap rope and cheap products out of it. You can even make C4 from the cellulose of the hemp plant. So, yeah.
Yep. So THC, what do you think about this definition? So they want to say THC means tetra. Okay,
tetrahydrocannabinol.
So they're crossing out THCA now.
Tetrahydrocannabinolic acid. Yeah, they tried it. This is SB 33.
No, this is, well, it's the House, like, basically what's going on. Oh, and this is another question I think Joseph had. He was like, okay, so it looks like it looks like it's assigned to a House committee, but not a Senate committee. And I said, well, that's what happens is it gets assigned to a Senate committee after it passes the House. They find a senator to take it in the Senate, and then it has to go to the Senate floor to be assigned to a committee. So that's why it's only one committee at a time, one side at a time. And probably you'll see that the sponsor of SB 33 is going to take HB 265 in the House and vice versa. Make sense?
No.
Okay. So basically, you can see the bill is assigned to the Ag Committee, right? Remember?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
But it wasn't assigned to a Senate committee because it has to pass the House floor in order to move over crossover on crossover day. By crossover day, it has to be in the Senate as the same bill.
Okay.
That bill needs to be carried by a senator, not a representative. So probably the senator who sponsored SB 33 is going to be asked to carry this bill when it reaches the Senate. Okay. So here are the definitions. So they're taking out THCA. So because obviously the federals haven't changed, the feds haven't changed the definition, and that's the issue that we're having with the flower, right?
That's part of the issue that we're having, and that's kind of crazy that, like, so what about SB 494? What does it do to that if they're removing THCA?
It repeals it. Because if you look at the end of the law here, it always says all laws and parts of laws in conflict with this act are repealed.
Okay. So does that repeal them? Like, what about flower sales, though? Does this allow us to sell flower again?
I don't know. But
I guess it wouldn't be in conflict with.
It says no consumable hemp product shall be sold or otherwise distributed in the state if such product. Like, it would have to kind of be crossed out to know that it repeals something that's already there. Because what this all is, and I think that was another question I didn't get to. that actually is what Joseph asked me. Like, can we just ask them to take back SB 494? I said, well, basically, all hemp laws ever since we legalized hemp in Georgia are just revisions of the Georgia Hemp Act, which you can find on our law, like the Georgia Law Library or whatever. So whenever there's a new law related to hemp, like the Hemp Act, there's going to be crossouts in it. So yeah, what you could do is just take the actual, like in section 1, I think it even says, you know, and this is why it's hard to understand when you're not a lawyer, that, you know, all these laws aren't necessarily new laws. They're just added to what's going on.
Now, go up real quick for me, please.
Huh?
Right there, it says delta 9 THCA means delta 9 tetrahydrocannabinol. Nope. That definition is incorrect right there. If they try to do that, that's still number 31, where it says THC delta 9 THC. The D9 THCA means delta 9. No, there is no such thing as D9 THCA. THCA is its own molecule. That, by definition, is incorrect. That's not true. That's not how the plant works.
Right. I hear you.
THCA turns into delta 9. There is no delta 9 THCA.
Right. That makes sense. So you see, that's something you can just say when you bring up the bill. That's like they love that stuff. Like, as far as like my legal input is, this is incorrect. This is not the right verbiage.
I mean, it's technically not, because tetrahydrocannabinolic acid isn't a form of, there's no delta form.
That really helps to like have a handout and underline it. It helps them look at line 31. You tell them the line and you tell them what you want changed.
Because THCA can turn into all of that. It can turn into CBN, it can turn into delta 9, it can turn into delta 8, it can turn into delta 10. THCA is the precursor to all delta formations. So
that is so interesting. We need to make a short out of this. Keep going.
Yeah, I'm just saying THCA is the precursor to everything. So the way the plant works when it's growing is it starts with CBG. CBG converts into CBD as the plant continues to grow into like week 3 or 4 of flowering. As the plant continues to grow, that CBD turns into CBDA, to be more technically specific and correct. CBDA converts into THCA, and then as time goes on, oxygen, air, light, all that does another conversion, and it converts THCA into delta 9, but not just delta 9. It also converts into delta 8, delta 10. They're put your THCP, your THCB, everything. All of that comes from THCA. So to sit there and say delta 9 is THCA is scientifically infactual. I'm done with my rant.
That was an excellent explanation. Can you I had one question about that. So CBG comes from THCA or CBGA?
CBG is the precursor. It goes CBG, and then CBG converts into CBDA. And then CBDA, you can decarboxylate it and turn it into CBD, or it will convert. And CBD is where they actually make most of their delta 8. So the majority of the delta 8 products out there on the market aren't synthetic. They just take the CBD isolate, take air, heat, and a little bit of movement, if you will, to agitate it, and that converts it into delta 8. So it is synthetically converted, but it's a natural compound.
You said it's converted from CBG or CBD?
CBD.
CBG turns in,
yes, CBG as in goat turns into CBD. CBD turns into CBDA, turns into THCA. THCA will convert into THC delta 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, THCP, THCB, and all the other crap.
Whoa, you just got hiccuped.
Did I?
Yeah, your voice doesn't match what you're saying.
Oh, well.
Now it is.
Sorry.
It just needed a moment to like recalibrate. It was like,
yeah, I was moving pretty quick there. I talked.
No. Thank you for explaining all this, because tell the people where you went to school. Like, you learned this in college.
Yeah. Well, I've been studying the plant since I was about 18 years old. I'm about to hit 40. where's time go? Anyway, so I've been studying it since I was about 18, actually before that, 17 years old, and I've been growing since I was 17 years old. And I've been studying on the forums and just reading books, reading the OGs material like Jack Herrera and then Richard Lee, and then you have Ed Rosenthal and all those guys out west, all the big names. I've been reading their books for years, and I've been reading forums. Then I went out to Oaksterdam University, was actually founded by Richard Lee in 2011, and I was valedictorian in 2011, and then went back in 2012. I got invited back by Richard Lee. He had a special class, like his secret growing tips for all of his valedictorians for the past like 5 or 6 years.
That's so cool.
So yeah.
Congratulations. Thanks for explaining all that. But like, so CBG comes from THCA? I'm sorry.
It's the CBG is the first cannabinoid that the plant produces. As soon as it starts forming that trichome, CBG is the number one cannabinoid. It's the
and
OG of all OG.
THCA and CBDA and CBGA come from CBG.
CBG will then turn into CBD, and then CBDA, and then CBDA turns into THCA.
Whoa, CBDA is before THCA?
Yeah, so CBD starts out as non-psychoactive, and then as the plant continues to grow, it becomes or turns into the psychoactive component we know as THC,
Now,
tetrahydrocannabinol.
my best friend, rest his soul, Michael Myers, he was like my number one teacher about cannabis. And
the Michael Myers?
Well, not exactly. He was also an actor. He was mostly in horror films, like back in the day. Like he was like, but like he has such a cool voice. Like he sounds like Casey Kasem a little bit. I have him in some of my videos. I miss him so much. I mean, talk about being able to talk to someone for hours. He would tell me all kinds of stories because his dad was actually in a symphony. Like he was a musician, and so they called cannabis spinach at the time. So he has he has this whole story about Popeye being about cannabis. But anyway, that's going off track. What I mainly wanted to say was he taught me that the cannabis plant produces more THC in hot weather because it's like their sun protection, or it's like they give it off when they're stressed or something.
It's mainly has to do with UV light, actually. UV light. So the more intense the UV, the more cannabinoids, or the more I guess tetrahydrocannabinol the plant produces, because THC and those trichomes are actually a protective layer for the plant. It absorbs all those UV lights and whatnot, and then starts becoming more potent. And it actually is a protective mechanism so the plant doesn't get burned by UV.
So is that the CBG or the THCA or the CBD?
It's all of it. It's all of it.
It's the
that trichome holds all of it.
It's like crystals that purify the air too, right?
It's a crystal that doesn't purify the air. The actual plant purifies the air. So the plant, just like your normal biology when you were growing up, how the rainforest purifies, how plants will absorb CO2 and let off oxygen, and that oxygen, we breathe it, and then yada yada. And the plants will actually scrub the air with carbon as they continue to breathe it in and release. So I think it was like 1 acre of cannabis is equivalent to like 3 or 4 acres of rainforest, as far as like the carbon that gets recycled throughout the ozone or throughout the environment. So if we were to plant a whole bunch of cannabis, we could potentially fix the holes in the ozone layer, if you will. I forget what your question was. Went a little off topic.
Hi, Joseph. He's here with us on the chat.
Hey, Joseph. How's it going?
So Joseph was on our last stream, which I'll link below in a minute, but we're like on this roll. So I was saying trichomes clean the air out.
Yeah.
Michael would tell me that all the time. Like they would like put something, like maybe their pollen, like they literally, like he was saying, the crystals reflect the sun backwards to stop like.
Well, they'll absorb the sun.
Yeah, I think that's what he was saying. Like it helps with global warming, basically.
Yeah, it will absorb UV, and then the plant will refresh the air. So yes, the plant as a whole is beneficial. The whole plant is always doing work. And then one more thing I'll throw out there, as far as terminology goes, hemp was actually referred to as the male plant back in the day, and cannabis was known as the female plant. And hemp was what we used to create clothing, cars, plastic, you name it, we could create it out of the hemp plant. And then your female plant would produce all the flower, and the flower is what people would create tinctures with, and other, I guess, powerful medicines to cure ailments.
Yeah, but hemp is not just male. Hemp is also female.
That's what we've classified it as now. 20 years ago, hemp was
They used to just call it hemp when it was male.
Correct.
But so that's what we need to get back to that in the definition.
Hemp, so it's marijuana altogether, if you will, which honestly just translates into like low quality cannabis or something in Spanish. I forget exactly what it was, or it was like a mixture of cannabis and tobacco. But we took that, and the plant, cannabis sativa, can't remember off the top of my head right now, but the hemp is what we called the male plant, and cannabis is what we called the female plant.
I did like a little history class because David Ralston, at the time he was Speaker of the House, rest his soul, he lives, like, his district was Hemp, Georgia. So I took a trip to Hemp, Georgia to like figure out like if hemp was growing there or if people farmed hemp back in the day. And I did a whole video of it, like you can find it on my channel or whatever. And so there was Hemp Town Creek, and I basically I camped out by the creek, and I like kind of like listened to the water and kind of let it like give me her song or whatnot. And what I learned, I did like a whole like little tour of hemp, and I tried to find like the history of it and about different people that lived there. And what I found out was that natives actually used hemp that grew by the creek for all kinds of things, especially the root, like for arthritis. But it was not cannabis. It was dog mane. And so it's still a legal plant. It has they call dog mane hemp, which is so weird because cannabis means two dogs, like, right? Cannabis, canine, whatever.
I didn't know that.
And so like,
I know everything. I know a lot, but I don't know everything.
Right? That's what's so amazing about this. There's always something to learn. Mm-hmm. And so, so basically,
there's the little 0.5 joint. Well, I guess you wouldn't, but there's like little 0.5 pre-roll joints that you can buy. Those are actually called dog walkers, and the reason they're called dog walkers is because you're able to smoke the whole thing in the time that it takes you to walk your dog.
Yeah, I love.
That's funny.
Like, there's so much to learn, and this plant has been suppressed so much that like it's so easy to not know what you know.
Yeah. True.
So is there anything, before we dive back into the bills, is there anything that frustrates you that about cannabis that you think maybe legislators don't? Like, what's the most frustrating thing? I'm going to leave you on for a minute.
A ton. Where do I begin? I don't want to deep dive into this because we've only got a few minutes before kickoff starts, and I know we're trying to sign out here, but yeah, there's a ton, man. They have no idea what they're talking about, especially when it comes to their limits. They think that one size fits all, when if in fact does not. It's very much like alcohol. Different strains, different flavors, or different, comparing it to alcohol, let's say different types of alcohol, whether it be a scotch or a bourbon or vodka or something of that nature. Yeah, I know it's time to go. But it all affects people differently. So different strains are going to affect people differently. And what politicians don't understand is that one size does not fit all. One joint is not going to do the same thing to me as it does to somebody else. And what I hate most is when they try to put limits on something, or when they try to tell us, oh, well, 0.3 is enough for anybody. You should be able to get high off of 0.3. It may not be about getting high. It may honestly be about pain relief or something of that nature. Or for me, it's ADD. I can't focus, or I have high stress, anxiety, yada, yada. If I'm not medicated and alleviated. So, and what works for me may not work for someone else. I'm a dabber. I use really high concentrated stuff, which may knock out, somebody that's never smoked before. It may knock you out for 2 or 3 days, but for me, it's, allows me to function normally. So what makes me mad about politicians, or what upsets me, is when they think they know what the limit people should be able to handle is, when everybody is in fact different. I don't mean to be rude, but I do have to kind of get going here.
Okay.
So,
Well, Joseph, you can tag team with Joseph. He wants to come on for a minute. Do you have any last words?
please donate to Olivia. She does a fantastic
Who's
job.
Olivia?
Aviva, excuse me. I keep calling her Avivia because I'm extremely dyslexic, and when I see it in my head, I see VI. But so that's on me. But yeah, please donate to Aviva, and follow her, subscribe, all that good stuff. Sorry, I'm getting blown up on my phone over here. And then
That's
please,
going on.
yeah. Also, guys, tune in for our podcast on THC Atlanta on X. If you're not already following, please do follow. We will begin that probably next week. And I do plan on, if not going live, at least recording my meetings with these senators so people can know what's going on, and so you guys can actually have insight and see what they're saying behind closed doors, and not just in front of the public camera. What's going on, Joseph?
What's
up, man?
Not a whole lot. About to dip out and log out of here.
Make sure you put your tag in the comments, Scotty. Thank you so much. Yeah, please check out his X and his Instagram, right? You're going to be live there too, maybe?
Not Instagram, just X, because X is going to be, I hate to say and put any other, I'll just say this, so I'm not putting any other social media on blast. X does not censor and does allow us to be more open with our thought process. So I do appreciate X's platform and the ability to be able to say what I want to say without being censored.
Well, we really enjoyed having you today. Thank you for being here. We look forward to seeing what will happen this week at the Capitol.
Absolutely. Look forward to those meetings.
Yeah.
What happens.
All right.
All right. I'll see you later this week.
All right. Sounds
All right,
good.
talk to you later. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Bye. All right. So Joseph is here tag teaming with Scotty. You missed a lot, man. We talked about 227, 265. We brought up 227, which I want to do maybe real quickly again. But it's crazy. Like, Scotty was like, what? There's a fine for just possessing medical cannabis.
Yeah, so I caught the tail end of whichever bill you guys were talking about, where Scotty was saying the Delta 9 THCA, which that's not, that's not actual cannabinoid. And there was something else he had mentioned that caught my eye, that we're going to have to tag team these bills together. So when he mentioned that THCA was not in there, if I recall, in one of those bills, I believe that they allowed the sale of non-intoxicating flower, which would still put THCA back on that scale. Because again, in raw form, it's not intoxicating. Like Scotty, I really didn't know that, what he just showed or told us about, from CBG to CBD to CBDA, the whole 9 yards. That was a really, really good breakdown for these, representatives and senators to understand, if they would actually just give us the time of day or listen. But yeah, if all that gibberish is there, maybe because, I don't know, because the bill is so, I hate to call the senator stupid, but the bill itself, if the language is so screwed up in there, and it does rechange the THCA and all this stuff, I mean, maybe that's not a bad thing to let this one go through, so it could repeal and replace, like you were saying, 494.
Maybe. I mean, let's take a look at it. Let me bring it back to the stage.
I know I don't have too much time. The only reason I got my grill going.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome.
But I mean, we can dig in as much as we can.
Yeah, let's just look at this real quickly. So I guess the main issue that people are talking about is that it creates limits. It does create
Yeah.
limits in this bill. And
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
don't know what they're going to sneak in last minute.
Well, and they're sneaking into where they're putting the limits on it because I don't think the Department of Agriculture has actually sent over their actual limit to the Secretary of State because there's nothing in the previous bill of 494 that limits anything. It just limits that we can't sell anything other than a gummy.
So this is what it is right here. They're saying it can only have 5 milligrams per
Yeah.
serving.
Which is way less than what the original Department of Ag was recommending on 10 milligrams.
And so the reason why is because they don't want competition with the medical cannabis. Like in order to heal, like for me, that would be like probably too much because I can't really get high.
True.
But
But someone like myself, I mean, if you factor in the fact that I have to take more THCP because we can't get Delta 9, but in, quantities of what we could actually get, I think my full Delta 9 tolerance would probably be about 150 to 250, somewhere around in there. It depends on if it's made good.
wow. Yeah, and it really doesn't make you high when you need it for pain relief. I learned that from people who take it for pain relief. It's like we don't even get high if we get until we get 1,000 or something. I'm like, not 1,000,
Yeah. Yeah, no, I have veterans. I have people that are trying to go through surgery. Like I have this one lady, she came in to my store personally trying to find something. She has surgery now, like a week from now. And we've been trying to figure out, like where her milligrammage is because she knows she'll be in a little bit more pain than what she's in now, but that pain will be temporary than what she's in now. So she's already prepared to man through the pain, but the whole being is because her brother died from pill addiction and she doesn't want to get addicted to pills. So she's scared to take pain pills. She's never drank, never smoked, never done anything in her life. So yeah, that's one of those things that on someone like that, 5 milligrams, we don't know if it'd be enough. So if she's diabetic and she needs 50 milligrams, she has to take 10 gummies.
That's crazy. See, that's the thing is and that's
Which,
what
50 milligrams is not a lot.
they agreed with us. They're just like, yeah, this is not good for diabetics. Oh, I was gonna say something though. Man, what was I gonna say?
I also noticed in one of the bills too that it looks like they were trying to do away with the beverages.
Really?
Did I misread that? Or, don't hold me or quote me to that. But I believe that they were trying to do away with all forms of beverages. And another thing with the online sales, at some point, can we get the USDA to step in with them trying to prohibit online sales, considering that is a federal offense?
Yeah, I posted something about that in the Georgia Hemp group. By the way, if you guys want to join the group, that should be linked below. It's the Georgia Hemp. We do discussions in that group.
Yeah.
It's on Facebook, just called Georgia Hemp Economic Revival Organization. But if someone could link it in the comments, that'd be awesome. I don't know how, I can't do it right now. But
Georgia Hero Act.
yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah, basically, I want to see what it says about flour in this bill. I want to find that. But yeah, what you said about diabetes is really good. And
well, the biggest concern for me with those bills, especially with diabetics, is my mom is a diabetic. My mom 2 years ago was hooked on like 8 pills that she had to take just to go to sleep at night. Now my mom takes 120. Yeah, she takes 125 milligram Delta 9 gummy and she's good. There's no 2, there's no more than that. It's just
my
1.
thing is if we just free this plant completely, then we can start making ginger combinations, ginger, turmeric, maybe with a little cannabis.
Some already do. Claire de Lune, Ben and Jen Garland, they add a lot of that stuff into their CBD gummies.
Yeah, it's just so good that they're like, okay, medical cannabis, we're just gonna control you. We're gonna fine you $1 million. Did you see 227? If you don't, we're gonna put you in jail if you have our remedies and want to make it into something else. How rude, actually beyond rude, it's so controlling and evil in a way. It's like, let people do what they want to do to heal their own bodies. Like, we don't need to be dependent on a medical industry, let alone medical cannabis. Like, it's just
Well,
ridiculous.
and you're depending on something that not every Georgian can access. We don't have one within an hour drive. If it was even,
For it.
if it was 20 minutes, okay, I could see a lot of people maybe going to get it. But even then, the Georgia medical cannabis is so restricted that is it actually worth getting?
No, and insurance doesn't pay for it, and you're on a list now. You're a target.
Right. You lose your gun rights, which we know Georgia loves to hunt.
Exactly. So let's just pull up this bill real quick. Try to find that flower thing that you said that was in 265 or 33.
I can't remember because I skimmed through them so fast, and I was going to print them out and take them with me while my travels, so I can actually like study.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. You're getting ready.
Yeah, I'll have my wife read it to me.
Yeah. And it can change.
Yeah. Well, I think on the legislation, don't it allow you to see current version?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's only one. I don't see anything about flower in here.
I want to say that it had something crossed out and then beside it, it had does not prohibit the sale of flower, I believe were the exact word. Because if that be the case, then that allows flower to be sold again, which is what we were asking.
Yeah.
Half of my customers, when I could sell it, the ones, because they're all my customers have gone back to the black market, or either they're buying it online now. So the biggest thing for me with the black market, of course, is, we've had 2 cases, I don't know, in the past couple of months that I've heard about with people smoking something and it having to get rushed to the hospital. I don't know if it was mold or anything worse than that. But, as far as like the online sales, biggest issue is Georgia's not getting that money.
Yeah. That's the thing. I mean, we've been crunching the numbers. I mean, they're probably losing like
They're 12 million a month or more.
$500,000 a day.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And I don't think Sam Watson and all these sponsors that love to sponsor these bills, I mean, there's no way that, True Leave is going to be dumping that kind of money into Georgia. One man can't pay off what 4,100 people are doing. There's no way.
Yeah. That's a really good point.
And that's just current. With the way that so many people smoke in Georgia, that so many people want legal access to cannabis now, that number is going to rise. In my town alone, we had 14 stores that were selling flower. Now none of us are, obviously, because we obey the law. But the thing is those 14 stores could have turned into 24 stores within the next 5 years. And, the income tax for Georgia monthly and yearly would have been insane.
Check this out, though. Yeah. Totally. Check this out.
Yeah.
Is it getting bigger?
It's really blurry on my end.
Okay. Hold on. They're crossing out low THC oil everywhere. They're just calling it medical cannabis, which means, are they about to make it legal to be more than 5% THC? If they're
So my general rule, when I was skimming through that, I caught that too. If you refer back to 494, they used that we could not advertise or say that we were selling low THC oil because that was technically what medical grade oil is in Georgia. So I think that has something to do with referencing that if we're referring anything that's hemp related to medical grade, I think that they're trying to outlaw that. Because you know how many times that we've told people in the past or currently that it's the same thing? I think that has a lot to do with it. I really genuinely think the Department of Agriculture uses what we tell them against us. And they talk to these people in the committees and because all of this language, except for what they screwed up on, You know, as far as like the actual definitions and the actual literature being correct, a lot of the language is what they gathered back in November till current.
Well, I mean, it's either them that are listening to us or the lobbyists for like Second Century Ag or whoever, like medical cannabis. You know?
Yeah, for sure. Botanical science, I mean, I'm sure they're in there somewhere. I don't know how deep into fine fettle they are, but you know, they're you know, what is it? You hang with them, you look like them, something like that.
If the quantity of medical cannabis is 31,000 fluid ounces,
Uh-huh.
imprisonment not less than 7 years. I mean, the mandatory minimums. This is freaking crazy.
Well, I mean, you know, but to be honest with you, if you're a hemp company and if you can sell your hemp the way we have been until October of 2024, there would be no need to want to sell that stuff because, you know, a THCP gummy at 50 milligrams is way stronger than a 10 milligram gummy you're going to get from True Leaf or Botanical Science or even Fine Fettle.
Oh my God, you guys.
And they can do the same thing.
Someone needs to sponsor, someone out there with a lot of money that cares about that needs to sponsor some kind of video. And it doesn't have to be me, like just where we get this out to people.
Well, you know, something I just thought about that's really scary for the card holders of Georgia, like the medical marijuana patients. If their card expires and they still have product because they bought it 2 days before their card expired, are they now going to be facing 7 years of imprisonment because they possess what they legally could possess 2 days previously? We already know Georgia's crazy about the medical marijuana and the cannabis laws, period.
That's so scary. That's like, you know, if they could put you in jail for your driver's license expiring, what are they going to start doing? The medical cannabis card is evil. Like literally, you do not need a card. Like you don't even get it paid for by insurance. What is the point? Just to allow you? They've literally taken something away.
It's
you know?
beneficial if you travel.
And
If
then
you travel to weed-friendly states.
Breadcrumbs. I'm just so mad.
No. We should be. We all should be. We should be storming this Capitol, not figuratively, but you know, we should be all blowing these guys' phones up with calls and emails so that we can let them know, like, hey, your constituents don't want
I
this.
have something to say. What, Scribbles? I just don't think they know basic math. $328,000? Look. They think $5 million is a lot. But look how much money they're losing. Oh my God. Now that's math. Good job, Scotty.
Yeah. Man.
All right. Well, I think oh wait, Scotty, you need to give us your X link so that people can go there for another podcast or two this week, whatever you decide. I really can't do too much streaming on my channel. I will get totally shadow banned and then my music will not be like I am already like having a hard time getting it out there. So we need to take this off my channel. So if you are here and you like my music, please listen to some music videos after this to get my algorithms back up because I know I'm going to be suppressed. I mean, it's just how it is. You talk about something illegal, blah, 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 you know, that's how it is.
For sure. It sucks that YouTube can't get on board.
I know. That's why Scotty was saying we got to go to X because they support.
Yeah.
You know?
I have X, but somebody's gonna have to figure to like show me how to use it because I just don't get it. I tried searching some people that he told me to look up, and I couldn't figure it out.
That's okay. All right.
But yeah, so this would be a good exiting point for me as well.
Okay.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a lot of questions. If you know, the next time I speak to you personally, you know, I'll bring those up because I don't have them written down right now.
I think I answered all your questions. I know you didn't get a chance to kind of look at the whole live stream, but I think I really did answer a lot of them. And Yeah, I do think we can, if you can end this with me, this
Yeah.
will be time. I think I brought up the bills. We talked about it one more time, and yeah, just keep on praying for cannabis. I think I'm going to sign out with the cannabis prayer that I did, and that'll bring us to a close, like Cannabis Car did earlier. And thank you all so much for sharing and subscribing and commenting. And you know what to do. We just got to keep talking about this. We got to unravel this knot, because it really is like a knot in our stomach. It makes us not be able to like have good health.
Yeah.
All right. Peace out. I'm going to bring up that prayer. And yeah, thank you all so much for being here. We care about you. We love you. And we're going to make things happen for the better. I believe in us. Ah.
Bye-bye.
All right, let me pull that up for you. I will see you guys. I'm going to talk so much. I can't really talk. I'll see you all next time.
I make an outstanding agreement to honor and respect cannabis as a plant for food, free to be planted, harvested, and processed by all. I break any past contract known or unbeknownst to me that has taken away my freedoms and security. But not limited to being punished, shamed, lied to, neglected, shocked, blocked, or manipulated in regards to my personal relationship with and awareness of the cannabis plant. I am committed to spreading education about the many uses of cannabis, from fuel to paper, raw fiber, medicine, technology, and ceremony. I believe we all stand and work together to reveal the truth about cannabis and help each other heal. The great deception, lies, punishment, and withholding of information that has affected the quality of our health and prosperity, relationships, communication, and camaraderie. My healthy, prosperous life deserves honor and devotion, and I honor my life. And it is my choice to use cannabis if it can contribute to and sustain this. I release any and all shame and fear if it's connected to this belief. I agree to honor my beliefs and acknowledge new agreements for the support and protection of our basic human rights. In regard to protecting and caring for ourselves, others, earth, and earth's resources, I further agree to and believe that it is my right and any human's right to personal pardon, family and our industrial farm. All suppression in the form of laws or otherwise that is out of agreement with this new contract is in violation of our beliefs, and it is my responsibility to make sure there's relief. And this is heard far and wide until total liberation is achieved. This is my sacred agreement and commitment, and I see that it is good.